JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 31st of March 2022, guys. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Thursday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a view of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which is also updated on a daily basis. So you have to check us out here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. So now then, guys, just a kind of quick update on my videos. I mean, tomorrow it will come out as a recorded session, unfortunately. So yeah, I mean, for now, the videos are not going to be live. They're going to be as recorded. I hope you'll still find them useful, but unfortunately, that's the kind of situation right now that we have to go through. So kind of getting back to that, to those recorded videos. Anyway, guys, it's the last trading day of the month today, so yeah, let's see what the market has prepared for us, and or what could we expect from it. So Nikkei 225, there we go, drifted to the downside, failed to move above that 28,339 level, and but stayed on the positive note. It stayed above that 200-day EMA. So in other words, for now we're just watching this one. We're maybe considering this as a little consolidation area, a bit of a range maybe even. However, we're going into next week, of course, we'll keep an eye on this, because if by any chance this will form somewhat of a maybe possible bullish flag here, then yeah, a nice pop higher here could be possible. However, I would still prefer to wait for that move above that 28,339 zone in order to get comfortable with higher levels. For the downside, if we drop somewhere below this 27,604 zone, or in a way we could round it up towards the 600. So if we drop below that, we could also drop below the 100-day EMA, and potentially more sellers could join in, but we will class that move as a temporary correction, because don't forget that we're still trading above this short-term tentative upside support line taken from the low of the 9th of March. Jumping into Shanghai Composite. So here we had a nice move to the upside, however still trading below this barrier. I kept on talking about this. I need to see a pop above this area in order to go for some higher levels. At the moment I'm just observing this one because it's just moving sideways, so yeah, not much is happening here. I would say it's just kind of moving sideways. If you do like to trade these sideways activities, then feel free. The only thing is that, well, always have a stop loss in place, because it could reverse any moment. Now for the downside, I still need to see a drop somewhere below this hurdle, this area, this highlighted area, and this area is roughly between the 3,177 and the 3,197. So yeah, a nice good drop below this may open the door towards lower levels. Of course, some of you might say that maybe it's better to look at where is that horizontal array? There we go. Maybe to look at this level here, which is the low of the 28th of March, or in other words, the current current lowest point of this week, which is around the 3,160 zone. Yes, of course, just for that extra confirmation, you could keep an eye on that, but I will start looking at lower levels if we drop somewhere below this area. However, the stop loss should be, present, because again, we don't want any false breakouts showing up. Now, jumping into the German index, DAX, and yeah, drifted nicely to the downside yesterday, fell back below this downside line. What I was talking about previously, I said that I need to see a nice good push above that 15,000 mark in order to go for some higher levels. Well, we're not really getting that yet, and instead of that, we got a drift back below the downside line. So at the moment, I would say it's a bit of a tricky one. On one hand, we do have an index which was willing to move higher, but on the other hand, we have an index already which kind of is considering maybe a bit of a corrective move lower. However, let's not rush into anything. I would say this way, that in order for me to consider the downside here, to get comfortable with much lower levels, then, well, I will probably take a very conservative approach here and wait for a drop below the 14,000 mark, or I would say even a 14,100 zone, just to be a little bit more on the safe side. I do understand that this is quite a big territory to miss out on, but to be honest, I'd rather be safe than sorry. I mean, you can see here yesterday the index drifted lower and tested this 14,553 territory. Currently the cash index is above that area, above this hurdle. I would say like this: if you are a little bit more adventurous than me, then you could keep an eye on this hurdle. The only thing is that it might drift lower, maybe even towards that 21-day EMA. So, or it might not even reach that and then reverse back to the upside. Either way, guys, a stop loss is needed, and just to kind of just to be safe. It's the end. We're coming, to the end of the week, so let's not overtrade or anything. But yeah, at the moment, like I said, if you are a little bit more adventurous than me, then you could keep an eye on this hurdle, this 14,553. A nice good drop below it may lead to the 21-day EMA. For the upside, as I said before, I still need to see a push above that 15,000 mark. However, I get it. I mean, maybe this is also a bit of a territory to miss out. Though what you can do here is keep your eyes on yesterday's high near the 14,745 level. A nice good pop above that may open the door towards slightly higher levels, but then again, a tight stop loss is needed just in case this is not going to end up being somewhat of, like, let's say, a false breakout and then reversing back to the downside. So, keep that in mind. NASDAQ. So yesterday was a bit of a red day in the US markets. So as you can see here, beautifully, this barrier, this area near that 15,200 zone provided fantastic resistance, and probably this is where I need to adjust a few levels here. I'm going to mark this current highest point of this week near the 15,265. Let me just adjust this very quickly. So yeah, at the moment I would say this way. Yeah, you can keep an eye on this hurdle. This area did provide that strong resistance, yesterday NASDAQ was the biggest loser. Technology, of course, was the biggest driver to the downside. Then it was, I think, let me just quickly double check. Yep, technology, consumer, cyclicals, and financial. Basically, it swapped places. I mean, if you remember, talked about this yesterday, and also, and energy was the biggest loser. Energy yesterday was the biggest performer yesterday and during the year. So it kind of correlates nicely here. So, and whenever the energy is on the rise, we have technology drifting lower, and the vice versa. Sometimes, of course, they do go hand in hand, but at the moment it seems like, yeah, that's so. If you managed to capture some sort of energy stocks yesterday, congratulations. However, I'll get to oil in a bit, but at the moment, looking at this picture here from the technical side, looking at NASDAQ 100, of course there are some concerns, and if we want to go for some higher levels, then probably the easier option would be to wait for a push above the current highest point of this week. Now for the downside, and this is where this level comes in nicely. So this area, I would say, near that 15,000 mark, and this is where yesterday the index kind of found support slightly above that psychological 15,000 mark. And if you're looking for something like a downside here, then well, probably just at least wait for a drop below that hurdle, because then we could go for the well, maybe a possible test of this 100-day EMA or even the 200-day EMA, and then maybe we could get a rebound from this area. Either way, guys, at the moment, I would say, given that we had already quite a decent up move here, yesterday we had that correction, which is logical, which is normal, which is quite healthy. Can the bulls push this one further north? Again, they could still. However, I need to see that pop above that 15,265 territory. That's the current highest point of this week, in order to get a little bit more comfortable with the upside. So because then this would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and potentially more buyers could join in. For the downside, short-term downside, a drop below that psychological 15,000 mark might do the trick. So let's keep an eye on that one. DXY dollar index. So talk about a roller coaster ride, guys. And if you are enjoying the, if you do like range trading, then you probably have enjoyed this one from the beginning of March. So look at this beautiful range. Now, yesterday we dropped below this area, and this is what I talked about from the beginning this week, last week, in general. For the whole month of it, I kept on talking about this one. I said that keep your eyes on this range. Now, not saying that this is, gonna become very bearish here, because again, maybe we'll get a nice rebound. So we'll continue monitoring this situation here. I mean, what's gonna happen with this 97.80 level? If we somehow drop and stay below it, maybe this could lead to a larger correction to the downside, guys. I mean, because don't forget that overall we're still trading above these upside lines, tentative upside lines, but we still would need to see like a decent correction here. But again, let's not rush into anything at the moment. I would say, okay, we drifted lower, but once again we're testing that lower side of the range. Can we break this? Well, let's wait and see. However, if by any chance the dollar here, DXY, starts maybe drifting, and this is where previously I talked about this 98.62 level, but now, for example, for the upside, what I could look at is something right here. This little hurdle, this 98.40. If we do pop back above it, then maybe I'll consider a move towards the upper side of the range, and then of course, yeah, we'll just have to take it from there again. But let's put it this way: at the moment, let's put it, if we just analyze this, then we saw our push higher. The prevailing trend is to the upside, or was to the upside. Then we started kind of consolidating here, ranging, and in general, according to all the TA rules, this tends to break to the upside. Like it could be like just a pause before a continuation move higher. However, until we get that clear break, we cannot really get excited about, let's say, any upside. And in general, let's put it this way: maybe, just maybe, this could have formed here a triple top, rare occurrence, but nevertheless, we need to kind of consider that. So if it formed a triple top here, well, I mean, we are near the neckline, so yeah, if this gets broken, then lower levels could be met, guys. But again, we cannot exclude the like I said, the upside as well, because we're still in the range, and if we do pop above this upper side of the range, then yeah, this will confirm a forthcoming higher high, and further acceleration could be possible. Now, jumping into gold, guys, gold continues to balance above this little hurdle. Let me just there we go. This hurdle here, this 1918, somehow it is quite an important one, as you can see here. Now, we pushed away from it to the upside yesterday. We traveled higher, but we found resistance near the 21-day EMA. As I said before, I need to see at least a push maybe back above this 21-day EMA, or even better, I would like to see the commodity climbing above this 1966 zone just to be a little bit more on the safe side. If we do get that, then yes, higher levels could be met. But at the moment, guys, the fact that it got a hold up near this 21-day EMA and continues, and this 21-day EMA continues somehow to provide that resistance, that of course makes us worry a little bit. And another thing, let me just put this on here, maybe, just maybe, this could be classed as maybe a possible neckline if this could be seen as a head and shoulders pattern, this little pattern right here. Now, it's not an ideal one, don't get me wrong, I mean, it's a little bit of an ugly head and shoulders, but you know, we have to kind of consider everything here just to protect ourselves. So, in other words, if we drop again below that 1918 zone and if we stay below it, well, lower levels could be met, guys. And not only this 1895 zone, but also maybe this 1878 zone marked by the low of the 24th of February. WTI oil. So, beautiful move to the downside, guys. And given that, and and finally the day has come. I mean, I talked from the beginning of this month, guys. If you were sticking to me, I mean, if you stuck to my videos, I said that keep your eyes on the monthly chart. So that's where it's going to be quite interesting, because if we stay below it, maybe we could see, you know, a bit of a retracement here going into next month. Now, I'm not saying that this could start, you know, straight away, but basically let's put it this way. This is just a kind of a bit of brainstorming here from my side. Let's put it this way. If this ends this month, this is a monthly chart. If this ends somewhere like this right now, with the body being, you know, somewhere near that 100 level, maybe we could see a bit of a push to the upside going into next week. This is where, or maybe not next week, but in general, in the beginning of the month, in the month of April, we could see this one pushing a little bit higher. Maybe a more buyers could get excited here, and then basically maybe it could catch, you know, the traders and sell off then. So if it, for example, it might even travel back to this 115 territory, but if it struggles once again to overcome it, a nice good slide could be possible. So what I'm saying here is don't exclude the, you know, that this, for example, could reverse straight away to the downside. No, there could still be some upside here, but again, coming back to the daily, at the moment, looking at this picture, this is looking quite bearish, and we could, like I said, we could see this one drifting to the downside. Maybe, you know, like going into next month, it could reverse back to the upside here, break this downside line, travel a little bit higher. But let's say if it finds maybe resistance somewhere around here, maybe near this 115, or even briefly jumps above the 115. To be honest, I really don't care as long as it, for example, if it fails next month, if it fails to, you know, overcome this 129 level, then yeah, I mean, we could see maybe, you know, a nice move to the downside going into the kind of, you know, second, or let's say somewhere mid this year, or maybe going into, you know, second half of this year. But again, let's be careful, and as well, also don't forget that we have rising inflation. Certainly, oil prices were a nice contributor to all this. So once people start picking up the fact that, you know, it's getting more expensive at in the shops, I mean, they're already seeing that. However, there's still cash, you know, disposable cash. However, when this cash starts going down, people will start saving, and this is where, you know, we could see oil drifting to the downside. So either way, guys, I mean, we can try to speculate here as much as we want, but let's just purely go from the technicals here. At the moment, I'm looking at this maybe for a possible move to the downside, and it's going to be quite interesting to see where this is going to end today. Also, because if it somehow even stays below the 100 level, now that's where it's going to be even more interesting. I mean, yeah, maybe we might not even, you know, maybe we could see that larger correction to the downside earlier. So let's see how all this is going to play out. For now, from looking at just purely this daily chart, yes, we're dropping below that 102.87 zone, so that's a sign of weakness. in the near term. If we stay below this hurdle, my next target is this 99.19 zone. If we clear that one, then I'll aim for the low of the 15th of March near the 93.56 zone, and then we'll take it from there. Bitcoin Cash. Beautiful, beautiful technical picture here. You can see that we are knocking on this door of this 387 mark, and yeah, we need a clear break above that in order to go for some higher levels. At the moment, although we're leaning towards the upside, but still a confirmation break is needed, guys, just to be a little bit on the safe side. So if we do pop above this, then yeah, my next target is this 419 zone near that 200-day EMA. So let's keep an eye on this for now. Like I said, if everything's looking a little bit more positive than negative here in the crypto world, and especially if, for example, if dollar does decline here, so BCHUSD could drive nicely to the upside. So keep that in mind. AUDNZD. So, one of my favorite pairs, and basically, yeah, we drifted back below this 1.0797 level. I talked about this, and in the beginning of this week, I said that keep your eyes on this hurdle. If we fall back below it, to be honest, I will consider maybe a bit of a move to the downside here. And at the moment, we are, we're still kind of, we did retrace this morning closer to this 1.0797. We failed to, overcome it, and of course, it's just the start of the European morning here. So let's see how this day is gonna go. But at the moment, yeah, I'm leaning towards the downside, guys. If you're looking for some more downside, maybe the low of yesterday, you could keep an eye on that. The 1.0755, a drop below it may lead to some lower levels. The only problem here that I have is this 21-day EMA, so which could provide a bit of support. But however, if that gets cleared, well, lower levels could be missed. So either way, let me just get rid of this highlight territory, no longer needed. Actually, I'm going to reuse it, and I'm going to mark this area right there. So for future reference, let's put it this way. And this is, of course, the next level to keep an eye on. Again, don't get me wrong, if we do pop back above this 1.0797, then I will maybe consider a move back to the upside here. But still, I would be very careful with these areas here. So yeah, like I said, I would consider a move back to the upside here, but it would be a very, very careful consideration. NZDUSD quick update. To be honest, I'm not going to spend too much time on this one, but so far so good. It did travel higher, but failed to move, or should I say, failed to stay above the 0.6982 level. Okay, so we're still a little bit more positive than negative on this one, but I need that confirmation break again, and I would need to see the body of the daily candle staying above this hurdle. USDCAD, very quickly on this, USDCAD, so beautiful move. So yesterday, and in general this week, I talked about this hurdle, this 1.2465. If we drop below it, my next target, as I said, this 1.2450, which we managed to pierce through perfectly. But look at this, this is just amazing. This is just very good trading here, technical, nice, and finally USDCAD is doing something quite interesting. So if we see oil continuing to slide, well, this is where USDCAD could pick up here and maybe move to the upside. However, my upside scenario is from around here, but yeah, we could maybe, let's say, consider a move higher if we pop above this 1.2530 zone. However, I would still be very careful, have my stop loss in place, because again, this is just still it could drift higher, break out through this, and then by the end of the day drift back down. So yeah. These things happen. Like for example here, yesterday everybody was getting bearish here. Not only did we clear this level, we also cleared the lowest point of January as well. We created a new low for this year, but then we quickly reversed, and now we're pushing back to the upside. So again, the similar story is with this barrier. So we could see a push higher, but if it travels higher, we can get and then reverses by the end of the day and kind of stays somewhere below it, then we'll just have ourselves a nice false breakout. So that's what I'm saying. Be very careful. Have your stop loss in place. US dollar against Mexican peso. Good move to the downside, and I've managed to reach my targets at 19.8993 approximately, or in a way 19.89. 1983, 19.83. That's the lowest point of September of 2021. Reached that. Now the big question is what's going to happen further. Now, let me just clear up this chart a little bit, or actually let me reuse some of these. Let me recycle some of these lines. Always recycle, guys. There's a hidden message for you. Yeah, so we have this downside line right now. It's not a perfect one, don't get me wrong. It's very, very tentative. It's way too steep. I mean, there's not any room here. So I would say even if it breaks this downside line, this doesn't mean that, we're suddenly will become very, very bullish or something. For me, let's say this is where we need to redraw this a little bit. Let me reuse this later. What I would need to see here is probably maybe a push above this hurdle, this 20.16 zone, something like that here. And if we do pop above this, then yeah, maybe I'll consider a bit of a move. To the upside. So yeah, at the moment, like I said, if I'm looking for some upside, then probably a push through this highlighted area is needed. GBPCHF, very quickly on this one. So beautiful move and to the downside, and I talked about this a lot, if you remember, and I've mentioned this pair, and I talked about this hurdle, this area. When we were still bouncing around here, I said that if we drop and stay below this 1.2264 zone, I'll go for lower levels. You can see that we had some false breakouts here. That's fine. That's kind of part of the game. This is this is how a lot of traders get taken out. So, but you kind of need to stick to your game plan. I mean, of course, you need to be prepared to take some losses. But if you're if you're strong on something, then kind of stick to it. And, well, because like I said, it's part of the game, guys. Now, in terms of further movements here, we've reached this highlighted territory. Okay, mission accomplished. Now, what's going to happen next is if we do break below this and stay below this, then yeah, I'll go for lower levels, and my next target will be somewhere around here, near this 1.1921 zone, and then yeah, we will take it from there, guys. So at the moment, I'm watching this maybe to see if we can get another lower low. If we can, then yeah, I'll go lower. Euro Aussie, so also something that I mentioned this week, and boom, we managed to reverse from this area. Great. In the beginning of this week, I talked about this 1.4566 level. We managed to reverse nicely from it. I said that if we were going to stay above it, then there is a chance for something like that, where we could aim for that downside line, which we managed to reach. Perfect. Good. Mission accomplished, result achieved. So what's next? Again, if you're looking for some upside, we need to see a nice good break, and we would need to see maybe, actually I would prefer to see this pair staying above the 21-day EMA, because don't forget that what could happen here, we could travel a little bit higher here, overcome this 21-day EMA, stays above it, then drift a little bit more to the upside, reverse back to the downside, drop again below the 21-day EMA. But if in general, if it stays eventually, the body of the daily candle stays above the 21-day EMA, a nice beautiful reversal back to the upside here could be possible. So again, maybe I'm over speculating here, but we've seen such scenarios happening. At the moment, I want to see if this is not going to just provide strong resistance. If it does, maybe a move back down could be possible. So let's not exclude that scenario as well. EURUSD. So beautiful move. There we go, guys. Pushed, and I said to you yesterday that if we're going to stay above this, I'm leaning more towards the upside. So if we continue to trade above this hurdle, I'm leaning more towards the upside. My next target is the 1.1267. If we drop and stay below this 1.1121 zone, well, this is where it could concern me a little bit. However, I wouldn't become very pessimistic about this, because don't forget that, wrong on the wrong line here, wrong area. I wouldn't become very pessimistic, but because I still have this. There is still hope, maybe, for the bulls to step in somewhere around here, but still, I would probably take a neutral stand here if it drops back below this. I mean, I like it when it's clear, straightforward. For now, this is straightforward, looks clear and straightforward. If it stays above this hurdle, this 1.1121, then yeah, I'll go for some higher levels. And don't forget, the guys, that maybe going into the market is maybe waiting for tomorrow. We do have some important data coming out tomorrow. So yeah, non-farm payrolls. That's going to be quite interesting to see how that plays out. But in general, guys, I'll have to wrap it up here. I really hope you found it useful. Just a quick reminder again that tomorrow there won't be it won't be a live session. It will be a recorded session. So yeah, so I hope you'll find use to that as well. Thank you very much for tuning in this week, guys. I really appreciate you're spending your time here and watching my videos. So I really appreciate that. So thank you very much, and have your stop losses in place. Stay safe. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.